Bonjour ma classe. Okay, we are in your textbook, page 49. We're getting ready to talk about adjectives. I'm in the place where it says 2.3. Il est beau, elle est belle. Think back to what il est means. Think back to what elle est means. Now in French, something interesting happens with adjectives. So the first word we have is sociable. Répétez, sociable. They're the same. Then the next word we have on our list is sympathique. They're the same for both as well. You can use them for il, you can use them for elle. Now, something interesting happens with the word for polite. Répétez poli and répétez poli. They're pronounced exactly the same, but something gets added in the feminine form. Remember, I told you long ago that E is the prettiest letter in the French language, so that is why it gets tacked on to so many feminine words. The same also happens with the word occuper. Répétez, occuper. It means busy, kind of like the English word occupied. Occuper, occuper. The pronunciation does not change, but we're still adding an E because we're talking about a girl here. So you can say il est occupé and elle est occupée. They sound the same, but when you're writing, you need to make sure to add that extra E or it just won't make sense in French. Now, we have another phenomenon in French adjectives. So we have the adjective fort. Répétez fort. So you can say il est fort. He is strong. Or you can say she is strong, but the word you need to use is fort. Répétez fort. It gets an E added. Listen very carefully. For, fort. For, fort. The pronunciation changes, and here's why. In French, when you have the regular adjective, the regular form of an adjective is always considered the masculine singular form. So here's our masculine singular form, for. To make it feminine, we added E. Up here, in for, we don't pronounce the T, even though we still have to use it to spell the word. In the feminine form, we're still using T to spell the word, but we're adding an E. And because we added the E, the T now gets pronounced. So the E and the T are working together. So you're not pronouncing the E, but the E is extremely important because it makes you pronounce the T. Another example of that, to say someone is tall, il est grand. Now think for yourself how you would write L-A and tall. Think about it. What did you learn from for and fort? What do you need to add to make a word feminine? And what makes it possible to change the pronunciation? If you guessed grand with an E, you are correct. So why didn't anything change back here when we were talking about poli and occupé? It's still poli and occupé even though we're adding E's. Here's why. Occupé, occupé, poli, they already end in vowels, so adding another vowel is not going to change the pronunciation of it. But with words like for and grand becoming fort and grand, the pronunciation does change because you're adding an E, because they end in a consonant. I think that's enough for this lesson. Watch it a couple times, try to get it in your head, and I'll see you next class.